Right, welcome back. And let me, before we start with our discussion, welcome our guest here tonight, Dr. Amany Hola, economic expert, doctor, and an NGO
charity organization head of
the chair of an NGO, right?
Yeah.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
And we're speaking today about the features of the strategies Egypt has put, or Egypt has embarked on since, we're speaking about 10 years? Almost 10 years?
Almost.
Yes. How do you view the features of the strategy Egypt has put in order to be able to start with its huge vision for 2030?
We have to recognize that there is no absolute opinion, or there is no absolute truth we should obey, because there are different schools and different opinions and different priorities according to the philosophy of the decision maker. According to our system, I can say that they start the hard way, because as if we know most of the services and the infrastructures are in a very bad condition. From which to start and what is the priority was a very big issue. But actually, I think the take the right track until we start now to feel the difference between the quality we used to have before and now the quality which make us have the better opportunities to start with the next step of development.
Right. So you started with what Egypt has started with in order to be able to go on with its plans and programs for sustainable development.
Yes.
And you started with infrastructure. And infrastructure has many phases. Let me here take you reading to how Egypt started implementing its or carry out with its plans with infrastructure in order to pave the way for other steps to come.
Yeah. We have to mention that we have, as if we have two different countries or two different worlds in Egypt, the civilized areas and the rural areas. And the big gap between them was very cruel and unfair.
Enormous, indeed.
Yeah, but actually to invade this war and to start with the thousands of villages used to have no services, no infrastructure, no clean water, no drainage. But it's a big battle and a huge amount of money needed for that. So I think we achieved great steps in this battle, and now we are starting to make the next step by starting the developmental steps, starting from industrial development and agricultural. But people, especially the very simple people, cannot understand how important to start with the infrastructure to be able to start the next developmental steps.
Hence, we're dividing the issues in order to be able to tell the people why we started with infrastructure. And let me know here, from your point of view, how infrastructure contributed to our ability to go on further steps in terms of starting with roads, bridges, and highways, and all these tunnels and the sewage networks. Even we're speaking about the internet, the stations for electricity, and all this. How, from your point of view, all such projects or the accomplishing of such projects contributed to going ahead with our plans?
I can remember when I was so young in school time, we used to have in the history factors of civilization. Part of it is making the roads and digging the water tracks I was so surprised. Is that that much important? Now I understand when it's hidden factors, or we can say it's password of achieving anything else. Yani you cannot have industrial development without very good ways of transportation, electricity, water supply, and all the infrastructure are needed. And that's why investors used not to be happy or encouraged to come to Egypt before. After we are removing this negative parts of our problems, we start to have a new era, and we start to have people understanding the needs of this infrastructure. But for the normal persons and for the community people, they still don't understand. Although they have better opportunities of job opportunities, they have better timing. Yani we
Services.
Of course, different services, especially when they are transporting from a place to another, or even the sewage used to be very costly in the areas which they don't have sewage service. They used to pay a lot for tracks, and it's very bad experience to have it without sewage, to live without sewage system.
How about electricity? We
Of
have
course,
outages. Okay. Remember, if I may here just quote, let me quote the US President while taking from the US Congress $2 trillion, this bill that was just approved, when he said that there is no strong economy without a strong infrastructure.
Yes.
That's exactly how he
Mentioned.
spoke to the US Congress, getting back to, and we did not pay, by the way, 2 trillion, okay? Of course. Right. Let me here quote the president when he was lost in the Matruh governorate in the Sidi Barrani, where the president communicated with the residents of Matruh, with the big tribal
Families.
sheikhs and chiefs, and he said that that he is very optimistic regarding Egypt's ability to navigate the global financial turbulence, backed by the diligent work, robust planning, and strategic governance. We're speaking here about diligent work because there is an enormous effort that was done during the past 10 years. Robust planning, each step that is coming after the other, or alternative plans, and strategic governance, or good governance. And we're speaking here, and he spoke here about a resilient economy. Your comment?
We can say that after decades of procrastination and ignoring the implementation of the theoretical dreams, we can say that every time we hear not about just putting the Cornic rock or the Cornic stone, we are watching an achieved project happening on the ground. This makes big difference because people used to lose trust. They hear a lot of words and no implementation on the ground. But now it's completely different. We used to be surprised from time to time with the new projects happening, and especially the very strategic and the very important projects like agricultural, especially with the strategic materials and food supply. But of course, it makes big difference in our economy and gives us a very optimistic push, especially with the crisis, international crisis, as if he was predicting that it will happen.
Part of that was also our transformation, or our digital transformation, and our digital transformation strategy has contributed very much to our plans or to our programs in order to be able to complete those plans. How do you view the importance of the digital transformation and how it reflected on such plans and programs?
We used to have a monster called corruption. Not only us, most of, even the very highly, by the way, the very developed countries, they used to market themselves in a good shape, but actually they have corruption also, but in different way, because they are already strong enough to be to make the corrupted parts hidden, and not affecting the total image. But actually, it seems to be that part of the human nature, unfortunately. The digitalization is the first nail we are putting on the funeral of the corruption. But I hope we can continue, because we, now the open drawers are minimized, and people culture, I hope, to be changed, because unfortunately the main encouragement of corruption, people themselves, they want to finish quicker, they want to take some rights they don't have to. They start to encourage the employees or the service provider to accelerate or to give them some benefits. But I hope awareness campaign start to make people understand, because it goes around and give back negative feeling on our whole community.
And from paving the ground for starting with our big dreams, the new republic, we started a few years ago our plans for industry, agriculture, economic zones, energy.
Different fields, yeah.
What we can do in order to be able to carry on and transform Egypt into the Egypt that we really need.
We have to understand that the Egyptian character, unfortunately, through the decades of ignorance, started to be having a feeble will. We have to make them more encourage and having dreams, because they start to be disappointed. If you are talking to any of the young youth,
you mean here dismotivated?
Yes, we need to start to motivate them, even just by giving them the right information. Many of them, unfortunately, they are just watching the rubbish things in the internet. They don't concentrate, and we have to enforce them.
But I'm sorry. Okay, so let me speak about the point that you are speaking about. And yes, indeed, social media has become a very critical tool, and its influence is incredible.
Yeah,
truly. But I mean here, how to make people more aware, or how can we let them know more than putting everything in front of their own eyes? I mean here, every time there is a project, it is inaugurated by the leadership himself. It's not inaugurated anymore by any of the ministers, and then it goes. The follow-up, the first stage and the second stage and the third stage of each project is being inaugurated also by the president, so by the leadership, I mean here, and every step that is taken is very much in a very transparent way spoken about. So you spoke about a very important topic, which is the influence of the social media. From your point of view, how to counter? I'll let aside what we were speaking about, because you here opened a very important topic. How to counter the threat of such a tool?
Okay, by two ways, by attraction and enforcement. But we have to start by enforcement. How? Everybody has a key. For example, we are talking about the very needy people and very simple people, because educated persons, they don't need our help. They're already aware and understanding, except a few of them. So the simple people used to have some kinds of services they need from the government, especially the Ministry of Social Solidarity. But we can make conditions. You will get your pension, but just you have to take these sessions every month, for example, and we have to get assigned.
You mean here that you encourage people to attend sessions
Yeah.
or raising awareness sessions?
Yes, and these sessions should have some kind of attendance grades. Yani if she is respectable and understandable and start to interact with the lecture.
There would be a kind of reward.
Yes. And this will be affected in the money she used to get every month. They have done something like that, but with the attendance of the children in schools, which is very important and a great step. Ladies cannot take the money if she doesn't bring the attendance sheet from the school for her kids. But I hope also to encourage them by having these sessions. The sessions, we can divide them, starting from vocational training, awareness of how to understand what's around, encourage them to participate in the activities and in the developmental steps, and even hear from them what's their problems, what's their feedback, and this will make big difference. They will feel happy that they have a voice, and decision makers are respecting them, and at the same time we will make them understand. We will give them all the right data away from the social media war, are really very tough one, which is trying to destroy the image of the developmental steps happening now.
Great. Before we move on and we continue with our main topic here, let me take this second report. And sustainable development as a foundation for the future. Let's watch.